There's no way that I would be able to have the strength to withstand some of the attacks that I've received on a personal level if it wasn't because of the faith that I have in God.
All right, Congresswoman Mayra Flores, thank you for joining me in the den.
No, thank you for having me.
What a blessing and privilege to have you with us.
No, it's an honor to be here. Appreciate you inviting me to be here.
Amen. So I don't know a lot about you, so I'm hoping to find out a lot.
That's why I'm here.
Amen. So what I do know is that you were born in Mexico.
I was born in Burgos, Tamaulipas, Mexico.
Burgos. ¿Qué quiere decir Burgos?
Burgos means God, family, hard work. That's what Burgos means.
That's what it means, or that's the
what
connotation you have of it?
Yeah, well, I was born and, raised there as well, and I was raised with strong conservative values. That's why I'm Republican.
Right.
Because of the values I was raised with.
So Mexico, you're born in Mexico, Burgos, and you say you had strong conservative values.
I was instilled strong conservative values.
But you're Mexicana.
Because I'm Mexicana. Most people in Mexico are raised with conservative values.
Yeah, that's true. And even Hispanics here, I believe Mexican-American people here in South Texas and pretty much anywhere in the United States are conservative by nature, by culture.
It's in our DNA.
Isn't it?
Yes. Our values align more with the Republican Party than the Democrat Party.
Give me some of the places and areas or issues that is true.
Well, pro-life, for example. The Republican Party is a party of life. We defend life. We stand with family values as well. We know what a woman is and what a man is. We respect children being children and not be brainwashed into believing that they can be little girls. If they want to be little boys, it can be little girls. No, we don't believe that, a child should transition. We believe that God made you perfect just the way you are. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't need to change that. Yeah. We believe in hard work, and we also believe in hard work. It's just who we are. Mm-hmm. It's all about, God, family. We believe in law and order. We love this country. Yeah. We've just been brainwashed by the Democrat Party for a long time.
Yeah, that sounds like what most Americans believe, though. Would you just describe in that what most Americans? Well, I thought that growing up that most Americans believe that.
Absolutely, most Americans do believe in more in that, but a lot of people put their values aside for a political party. Mm-hmm. See, a lot of people believe in that, but they vote against those very values that they believe in.
And why is that? ¿Por qué crees?
Well, because a lot of people are willing to put their values aside because they're for self-interest, or because they've been manipulated and been lied to for a long time. A lot of times the Democrat Party, spreads a lot of fear, misinformation, and they know that a lot of people are not really going to look into the information and making sure that it's not true what they're saying out there, and they're easy manipulated. And it's changed, though. It has drastically, and I'm very proud of that. I'm not saying the Republican Party is perfect.
No, it's not.
But the foundation of God, family, and country is there, which is what I stand for.
Right. No, the Republican Party is far from perfect. Mm-mm. And that's why I find it very difficult to say I'm this party or that party.
Absolutely,
will say that I am conservative, but because I just see a bunch of nonsense on both sides, right?
On both sides, on the far right and, far left, but,
Por eso, that's why I like our president now, because I really don't think he's too far on either direction. He just stands for what
he just loves the United States of America.
And for what America believes.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing him bring countries together that had been in war for 30 some odd years. and now they're establishing peace.
I mean, he's the reason why I got involved. I was not interested in politics at all, whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I saw the amazing work that he did. And I said, hey, what if I get involved at the, in the local party and see how I can help? Because I was inspired to all the work that he was doing during the first administration.
Yeah.
And so I got involved in the local party because of the work that President Trump was doing.
Yeah.
Before that, I was not interested or entertained.
Yep, at all. At all. We jumped right into politics. I thought we were going to talk about food and coffee. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite ice cream?
We can talk about tacos. We can talk about ice cream, whatever you like.
So saying that, here in this 2024 campaigning, at the beginning empezaron muchos Republicans, a lot of different Republicans that, a lot of people were putting their eyes on them and saying, Donald Trump's thing of the past. We don't need him. He's too rough. He's too blunt and blah, blah, blah. And from the get-go, when he ran in 2016, I said, I'm going to vote for that guy. As a matter of fact, about 10 years before he even ran, I said, if this guy ever ran for president, I would vote for him. Because I would see him on The Apprentice.
Oh, wow.
And at first I thought, this guy's not a good leader because he was kind of harsh and blunt. And as I kept watching the show, I started seeing so many leadership qualities that he had that I said, man, this guy's an amazing leader.
Absolutely.
And I said, if this guy ever runs for president, I'm going to vote for him. I didn't know whether he was going to be Democrat or Republican. I didn't care. I said, if this guy ever runs for president, I'll vote for him. And pasaron los años, about 10 years later, he says he's gonna run for president. I'm like, I'm in. I'm gonna vote for him. And a lot of people came, oh, he's not gonna make it. He said this, that, or the other. He said this about Mexicans. And I would go and I would watch the clips, and I said, he didn't say that about Mexicans.
Exactly.
And then so, oh no, he's not gonna win anymore. He said this about this person. I would go look at the clip. I was like, no, he didn't say that. And from then to now, people try to take clips out of context. They try to edit them to make them look bad. But even in 2024, where some people said, no, we got to go DeSantis, we got to go this person, that person. I said, no, the only person that I would support is Trump, because the other people are just politicians.
Yes, and I strongly believe in loyalty. I'm very loyal to the people that have been good to me, that have been good to us. And I think that, President Trump did an amazing job in his first term.
Right.
Why wouldn't we stay there for him and support him? And I didn't like how people turned their back on him. Because I know what it feels like, I've been and I am in many times the underdog, and so many people till this day underestimate me and underestimate the work that I've done for so many years in South Texas and throughout the state, and honestly throughout the United States. I've traveled swing states. I traveled swing states with President Trump and making sure that he won the Hispanic support. I did a roundtable with him with Hispanic business owners, and I told him, I said, I am going to make sure that you have the most Hispanic support any other Republican president has ever had. And he said, wow. I said, just watch. And we did. We made it happen. I worked very hard alongside him and making sure that he got the White House once again. Because I just saw the amazing work he did in the first term. And I knew that if we lost the White House, once again, we would lose our country. And this country's done so much for me, done so much for my family. I feel obligated to fight alongside him in making sure that our children also have an amazing future, that are able to accomplish the American dream. So, speaking at his rallies, I
Nice.
also did private fundraisers as well, making sure that we raised some millions of dollars, because I was running my own race, but at the same time, my priority was making sure President Trump got elected. So we lost our election by 2 points, but I was celebrating that night. I forgot that I had lost by 2 points in a district that was a Biden plus 15. Biden had won my district by 15 points,
Wow.
and yet we lost it by 2 points. And I was very proud of the work that we did and how South Texas continued shifting red. And I feel like as long as the needle continues to move towards the right, we're doing a good job. So I was very proud. But that night, I was celebrating that President Trump was in the White House.
Yeah, and it did. South Texas went almost all red, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Pretty much all the counties out there were red. Maybe a couple. I don't know. I know in 2020 there was like a couple that didn't go red, but
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, 2024 pretty much all South Texas went red.
Absolutely. What we need to work on, though, is getting them to vote down the ballot Republican. So a lot of people went to go vote just for President Trump. So in order for President Trump to make a huge impact, at the local level, he also needs the right people locally and at the state level and at the federal level. So the problem we have in South Texas is that the majority of the people in South Texas governing are Democrats. So President Trump can be sending all the funding to South Texas, but you got local Democrats who are not using the funding for the right reasons.
So tell me why somebody would vote for Trump, but they wouldn't vote, but they would vote for the same type of system in local elections. Why would they go for him in the federal? National level, but locally go Democrat.
Well, a lot of times, again, it's the misinformation, but there was a lot of new voters that just pressed Trump and that's it. A lot of people don't understand the down the ballot and how important it is.
Yeah.
I voted for the first time in a midterm in 2018, and I was in my early 30s for the first time. Prior to that, I didn't understand how important midterms were. And what woke me up was that I saw Beto signs all over. All over South Texas. Wait a minute, who is this guy and why is his sign all over? And that's what really triggered me to get out there and help the local party in making sure that Senator Ted Cruz got reelected in that midterm. But a lot of people are just not informed in the down ballot races and not really understand how important those races are as well. And that's where we have a responsibility to make sure that people have that information, because President Trump can be sending all the funding to South Texas, but you got local Democrats, keeping it to themselves or to their compadres. And, there's a lot of compadrismo in South Texas. There's a lot of corruption as well. We've had many Democrats that have been indicted for corruption. Not too long ago, we had, a state, Mayra Flores, who was a state Democrat. He got indicted for corruption. He was known as Mr. 10% in South Texas. So you have a lot of corruption, and then it keeps going. Then you see their children doing the same thing, running for positions and at the local level, and I see that throughout South Texas, a lot of corruption. So that's what I'm working on, and making sure that corruption ends.
Yeah, I think the way they get them to vote for them is that they get them hooked on assistance, and they have all kinds of government assistance.
Absolutely, they want you to be dependent of government assistance, so they can continue manipulating you and getting you to vote whoever they want. That's their base.
The problem with that is that it actually keeps them poor.
Absolutely.
When I was growing up, and they say you got to vote Democrat because Democrat is for the poor. And at first it kind of made sense, and I think I was
told the same thing.
Yeah, I think they did fight for lower class people, but I think it evolved into a dependency where they knew that if they could get dependent on them, that they would have a vote from that person, perpetual.
Yeah, they give you fish, but they don't teach you how to fish.
Right.
And because they want you to stay poor. And I've always said that the Democrat Party is for poverty. They love creating poverty. They do not want to create prosperity.
Right.
And that's what I want. I want to create prosperity. I want to get you out of there. I don't want you to stay there for the rest of your life.
Right.
How can we help you thrive, your children thrive, bring in good paying jobs where you're able to, buy your own car, buy your own house, or you're able to take a vacation where you're able to live a good life. Why would I want, you to stay in poverty for the rest of your life. And you have a lot of people and a lot of elected officials that want you to stay poor. And how can you call yourself a member of Congress, and that you're successful while the district that you represent is falling in poverty?
This is what I saw.
That doesn't work well.
What you're saying right there with our district in poverty. So I'm here in the Robstown area. A lot of politicians, big politicians, have come out of Robstown. Robstown has supported many people that have gone and made it big in politics. But what they've done is they've hailed the name Robstown, and Robstown, we're from Robstown, somos de that La Raza, that kind of stuff. But then when it comes to paying it back, it doesn't really come back. They kind of instill themselves in certain circles, and they use politics to suck the city dry of all its resources. And they're able to get money to their buddies, this, that, and the other. The compadrismo, like I was talking about earlier. Yes, and their heart is really not for Robstown. This is how I saw this once. We purchased a historical church building just around the corner over here, and this was 11 years ago. And we had a fundraiser. It was a black tie affair. We invited all the politicians that were from Robstown that always praised Robstown and say, hey, that's where I'm from. And we were having a fundraiser to save this historical marker, to preserve it. So we have this fundraiser, and we had almost zero, I want to say zero politicians in attendance. All those people that said that they were from Robstown, for Robstown, were nowhere to be found. Even though this was at a very important building in Robstown, a lot of history in this building, we had a very, very poor turnout from them. We still were able to raise, about 16 grand, but we should have covered everything we needed for it. And after that, I spoke with somebody who was in with the politicians, and I said, do these people pick and choose who they're going to support? And bien claramente me dijo, yeah, they do. And they didn't want to support that for this, that, or the other. I guess they had nothing to gain from it. And it just really put me straight to the political world. And of course, none of them were necessarily Republicans. But again, I don't put it past them either. But a lot of them were mostly Democratic politicians that came out of here that I believed used the people's naivete for their own personal gain.
A stepping stone.
Absolutely. Ya no ni los miras. You don't see them around here. They've sucked this area dry, and there's nothing to show for it.
I personally know the feeling. I've been used as a stepping stone. Personally, myself, I've been used, as a stepping stone. And once they get where they want, they forget who got them. Who got them there. So I can't imagine how the people of Robstown feels. But like I said, I'm obligated. Anybody who is there to serve is making sure that the funds that you're bringing back to the district are being distributed to the right way. What happens is that a lot of members get elected and don't pay attention to local elections. Right? They're in position. That's it. Well, no, once you get to Congress, it's not just about you getting in office. It's also about you getting the right people elected in your district. So you got to come back in making sure that you got commissioners, you got, school board members as well that have the same values, the same work ethic. So when you're bringing in all that funding, you know where that money's going to go to, and you know it's going to be invested in the right way, because it just defeats the purpose. You can be bringing millions of dollars, and it's not going to go anywhere because you're not going to have the right people. Right. So you can get in Congress, but it's not just about you getting in office. So I've always gotten involved in local elections. I think they're just as important. It's not just, congressional races. Local elections matter just as much. And that's one of the reasons why it was so frustrating, right? That some people just did not vote down the ballot. And it's like, wait a minute, you can't do that. But a lot of them were first-time voters, never voted in their entire life. And then you had a lot of Spanish speaking as well. They just saw Trump and vámonos. And so, because you had a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Mexican Americans for the first time ever voting. They've never voted ever in their entire life, and they were there voting for him. And which is, I think it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
But
What
he's
I
not going to be
see-
in the ballot anymore in
Right.
2026. So
Or maybe he will.
No.
I don't know. We'll see. So
No.
what I see is that immigrants, recently here from Mexico that probably came here the right way. Immigrants in Florida, Cubans mainly. These people, they are conservative.
Correct.
And they are supporters of a Donald Trump. And the people from here, third, fourth, fifth generation
take it for granted.
Hispanics take it for granted. And they can't understand how a Mexican
And not
or
just
a
Hispanics.
Hispanic.
I mean, you got Anglos. I mean, we saw Anglos going towards the left.
Yeah.
And you saw Hispanics going towards the right.
But they're trying to pander to Hispanics. Like, look, we're with you. But the real, I'll say it like this: real Mexicans, real. I don't want to say it that way because, but like for instance, Cubans. Cubans don't vote Democrat.
Absolutely.
They vote conservative because they understand
What socialism and communism
what socialism. Yes, they're coming from Cuba. They know it. So Hispanics that are from here, they see that and it's like, oh, I can't believe they're Hispanics and they're voting for somebody who hates them. They've really fallen for the lie of the left so badly.
They think that that they know Mexico because they go vacation in Puerto Vallarta,
Right? Or because they have a Pancho Villa poster on their wall.
and they've never lived a day in their life in Mexico.
Right.
They do not know what it's like to live in Mexico. I mean, they go with their green dollars and show off. That's not the everyday life in Mexico. Try moving to Mexico and then come back and tell me how that was. And I don't mean in Puerto Vallarta. Go to Tamaulipas, go to Reynosa, Matamoros, and then tell me how that went. It's a bloody war in the state of Tamaulipas right now. It's not safe, and the people of this country who are born and raised here take it for granted. So you're absolutely right. It's people like myself that were born in Mexico. There's no way I want what's happening in Mexico right now in the United States. And that's why I ran for office. Because I will not allow the far left to destroy this amazing, beautiful country.
Right.
Because where will we go? No way will I allow the far left to destroy the United States of America. I'm obligated to making sure, because I've seen what those views have done to Mexico. Mexico right now is at its worst it's ever been. Everybody talks about Hamas and ISIS and how they need to be eradicated. Absolutely, I agree. But you got a terrorist group just as dangerous right across the border that is doing the exact same things.
So how do the Mexicans feel about Trump
They
war on the cartels?
They love President Trump. That's what's interesting. I have family in Mexico that want the United States to go into Mexico and do what their own government won't do. Actually, President Trump is doing more for the people of Mexico than its own government.
Oh, yeah.
That they increased the minimum wage in Mexico thanks to President Trump because of the pressure that President Trump put in place. And now the minimum wage actually increased during the AMLO administration. Actually, things, a lot of the things that, the good things that are happening in Mexico, it's thanks to President Trump. He secured the border, and that was a good thing for Mexico because they also were very upset with all the people traveling through Mexico, creating just a lot of crime as well, a lot of destruction as well. And the people of Mexico were like, wait a minute. What about us? Just like Americans were feeling here, like, hey, what about us? Why are you giving them everything? Housing, shelter, money, cell phones, housing, everything. What about us? Whenever we were going through a very tough times economically, and we still are. And so the people of Mexico were feeling the exact same way. So they're actually very supportive of President Trump. Our family in Mexico that are praying President Trump to do something, and they were very happy that he labeled them as a terrorist organization, because that's exactly what they are. They are a terrorist organization. I mean, right now it's out of control. We have a safe border thanks to President Trump, but they're not making the billions that they were making under the Biden administration. So the kidnapping and the killings and raping women, human trafficking, child trafficking has increased because they got to make up for that loss that they're not making anymore that they were making under the Biden administration. I mean, it's a war zone. So to all those people that hate the United States of America, I am here to invite you to the state of Tamaulipas. Go move to Tamaulipas for a few months, a few weeks, and tell me how it went. Trust me, you're going to love the United States of America.
Amen. So moving on to a different topic, you were elected the first Mexican-born woman congressperson.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Congresswoman.
How did that feel?
It feels so good. It did. I was like so happy. One, I was happy for my family. You know, I wanted them to be proud.
That was history.
It was. We flipped a district that had not been flipped in over 150 years. And I also wanted to take that away from the Democrats, because they can never say that they elected the first, congresswoman born in May. They can never say that, ever. So taking that away from them
Why
felt
didn't
good.
they celebrate it?
Why didn't they celebrate it?
We're for women and all that.
No, they wanted to send me back to Mexico. And my opponent...
They did want to deport you.
Oh, absolutely. My opponent openly said, let's send her back to Burgos. Imagine a Republican saying that. Imagine a Republican saying that. But yet my opponent got away saying openly on his platform, shared the video, and said, let's send her back to Burgos. Imagine a Republican saying that. But because he's a Democrat, he gets away with racism.
Well, they get to get away with all kinds of nonsense that they say all the time. And I'm like, wow, why do they feel like they have the liberty of saying all that and no repercussions in their criticisms?
Feel like the good people need to rise up and, voice, because we're allowing these people to be louder than we are. And they're not the majority. The majority have common sense, like you said, love this country, respect this country, love God, love family, love hard work. That's America.
Yeah.
Problem is that we're not speaking up for ourselves.
Right.
So the good people need to rise up. We need to stop allowing the bad people to be louder than ours.
Right.
Than our voices.
Yeah, we're discovering that even as a church, that the church has to also step up and start speaking up a little more and standing out.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that, because, pastors need to get out of the church as well. And if elected officials would allow and pastors to be involved and allow them to guide them, we would be in a much better place. And I would love to see pastors, run for office, be involved in getting elected in local election positions. We do need it.
Yeah.
We do need that spiritual guidance, because Washington is a dark world, and we need light.
I agree.
Washington's a dangerous place. There's a lot of, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of drugs. Corruption, fraud. There's a lot of bad going on. And so it's important that more good people get involved.
And even at least if it's in the world of mentoring or counseling or, like you said, guidance, advisors to these people that get elected. I believe that they should be connected to a church. In the beginning, in the first colonies, it was a requirement that you be a Protestant Christian to be able to run for office. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, you had to be a Christian para correr. Now it's a separation of church and state, which doesn't mean what people think it means.
No.
It means keeping the government out of the church and not the church out of the government.
No.
And those people that say the church needs to stay out of government, eran los primeros that were saying, go arrest him because he won't close his church during COVID. So they're okay with the government coming in and doing what they want to do in the church, but they don't like the church getting involved with
We need God more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't be where I am, and because I am so imperfect, is that I need God every single day.
Yeah.
You know, and we all do. And so I think that as a whole, this country's put God aside. And that's why we're in the mess that we're in. And it's so good to see President Trump supporting religion freedom. He's bringing in thousands of pastors throughout the United States to the White House, and really giving pastors and religious leaders a voice.
Right.
And understanding that they're so connected to the everyday American in a way that we're not.
Right.
So if we talk to pastors about the people that are coming into their church, what are they telling you? You know, not their personal lives, but is there something that concerns the community? The pastor, more likely the pastor's going to know.
Right, right.
And so we will be better representatives. We will do a better job if we're connected to the pastors that we represent, so we can go to Washington. Because when we're in Washington, we're not just representing ourselves. We're representing the people that elected us to be in that position. And sometimes we're going to vote on things that we personally don't agree, but our district does. But my district does, you know?
Right.
So I have to keep that in mind. I also have to understand that it's not just about me. How does my district feel about this issue? Will my district be okay if I support this or not? And that's where it's important to be connected with the pastors, because that's where that phone call.
Yeah, because pastors also bring a spiritual discernment aspect to guidance also, because sometimes you'll see something and you really don't know what direction you ought to be taking.
No, I remember I had a difficult vote and I called Pastor Luis.
Cabrera.
Yes. And I remember got out of the house floor, and they have these little rooms where you're able to make quick phone calls. And I got into that room, closed it, locked it. And I called him. I said, tell me what to do on this vote. And he was like, okay, tell me about this vote. And he guided me through it. And so, no, we do need that spiritual guidance in Washington. We would be in a much better place. So that's just my personal thought.
No, I think it's accurate. You know, even in the scriptures, they would call the prophets to ask them for guidance and discernment as to what they ought to do, and the prophet would speak the word of God, proclaim what God says, and then you're able to make the decision. So I think that relationship is crucial.
I love how God uses the most imperfect people. You know, you look at President Trump's, back, growing up, and you know, he's been married 3 times, and his children, and you look at all that and everything he's gone through throughout life, and how God used him. And so when I see that, I'm like, God can use us. Oh yeah. Don't ever feel that you're not enough, and that, do not allow your mistakes to dictate your future. If anything, you learn from them and move on. And so I just love how President Trump has gone through so much in life. He's made also many mistakes throughout his life, and love how God used him to be where he's at.
It's funny because people want to use that. Yeah, people want to use that to disqualify him. And we've been studying. We've been studying on the people of the Bible on Wednesday nights, and every one of them is flawed, and God still used them. Right? God's showing us.
I'm here to tell you that I am flawed as well. I'm not perfect.
Right.
But you know what? Every mistake that I've made throughout my life has made me better.
Right.
I've turned it around. And if it wasn't because of the fear I have in God, and I don't know where I would be. So I straighten out real quick. I'm like,
right. Well, those things,
fear I have.
Yeah, those things should make us better.
Absolutely.
God often would say, my grace is sufficient, and in your weakness I am made strong.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
You need to text me that.
Sure, I
I
will.
love that.
So we got to surrender our weaknesses to God and allow Him to come in and take hold of them
Amen.
to make us better, ¿verdad?
Absolutely. You know, God gives us so much grace. We have to give that same grace to everyone around us.
Yeah, I might want to talk about that a little bit more, but I want to touch on something before that because you're a congresswoman.
Mm-hmm.
You got sworn in.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Do y'all get briefings? Do y'all get briefed as Congress members concerning things that your typical person won't know about?
You mean if I got briefed, like when I got elected?
Right.
You know, I just got thrown out there. Let's go.
but you know, there's certain things that government people know about things that are
absolutely.
kept secret from the public.
Yes.
So y'all are briefed about.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
Tell us then. Tell us all the secrets.
I can't.
And so there are things that you cannot speak about?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
That's interesting.
Because it's to protect the United States of America.
So I was listening to
You can't tell the enemy, you know, out
Sure.
some of these things.
Yeah, sure. I understand that, but like I was watching Joe Rogan. He was talking to Paulina Luna.
I don't,
You know her.
yes.
Yeah,
Of course.
she's Republican, I think,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
So very interesting, and they were kind of having a similar conversation about that. And he was asking her or telling her why is it that y'all feel that the American people are not smart enough or strong enough to handle some of these secrets?
Absolutely. The American people can handle it.
Yeah.
It's everyone else. It's not about
Outside of here.
It's out of here. So we want, the American people. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you don't want certain countries to know there's certain things that are going on. So you got to be careful.
Yeah. So like, for instance,
No, absolutely. The American people are very, very smart.
yeah. So for instance, like UFOs and sightings like that, did y'all get briefed on stuff like that?
I personally didn't.
You did not?
No, I personally didn't.
Are there others that did?
I'm sure.
Other Congress people that are?
I'm sure. I think they do. I do think they exist.
You think what exists? UFOs or aliens?
Both. I think there's something out there.
I'm not so sure about aliens, but
I just know that there's more than.
The reason I say UFOs because I've seen one.
I've personally, did not get briefed on that.
No.
But I do believe that there's.
And if you did,
more.
You wouldn't have told us either. See, I can tell you, but I'd have to kill you. No, well, I've seen some things, and I mean, like, not a light. I've actually seen something in the sky, able to make out parts of it, and it's like this big ship. Oh, and I make an exit and turn around to then try to get footage, and it's gone.
Oh, man.
I mean, you're talking about something the size of a gas station.
Oh, wow.
And then it's gone.
And it's gone.
So I don't think it was.
I would have loved
to see it.
To see that.
No,
yeah.
I wasn't alone, so I know it was in my imagination. So.
Oh no, I 100% believe you.
You believe me?
Absolutely.
So I don't think it was alien. I think maybe it was a government type of craft or something. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know how it disappeared the way it disappeared. I see, gone. No trace. No, nothing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So
I would have loved to see that.
So if you get back in and you get briefed, you got to come back and tell us.
I don't know.
Because there's a whole bunch of documentation on it, no?
Absolutely. Things like that, I think, why not? Why not share?
¿Te interesa o no? Does that kind of stuff interest you or no?
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think that I don't see why we shouldn't share things like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Personally, I don't think that we shouldn't keep that to ourselves. I think we should share that. But there's certain information that you can't. It's in national security issues. Yeah. We got to make sure that our country is safe.
So what about like COVID and things like that? Were you guys briefed as to as to some of the origin? I mean, it's all out now, but
Yeah.
do you
it
get
is.
briefed on stuff like that?
So during that time, I wasn't in Congress. I got in Congress in
Afterwards,
2022. Actually, I was working the front lines. I'm a respiratory therapist practitioner. So I was working the front lines during COVID. Was working, doing home health, and was working at the hospital as well. So I was, it was very difficult. So I was at the other side. I was not getting brief. I was hearing all the same things, that everyone else was hearing. But what I can tell you on a personal, as a respiratory therapist, we were truly doing the best that we could. We didn't know anything about this, this virus.
Right.
And so here we had, ventilators, and we ran out of ventilators. We were using CPAPs, BiPAPs. We were trying to figure it out. What could we do to save these patients, and medications as well. It was very difficult, because I feel that a lot of it was like a trial and error, just trying different things, because we've never seen anything like this before. And no, it wasn't like the flu. For some people, they did have symptoms like the flu, but for some people, it wasn't. And so in South Texas, it really impacted us, because we have a big percentage of people with diabetes and overweight, so that impacted, COVID impacted those patients more. And so it impacted us in South Texas, because we're leading in diabetes and obesity, so it impacted us tremendously. And it was so sad. We lost so many people, fathers, mothers, sons, daughters. It was a terrible time.
Let me ask you this: do you believe that some of the treatment that was being given for it, or the protocols that were being used, were actually killing people? Unwittingly to, obviously, the people that were administering it, but do you think it did?
I wouldn't say that. I personally saw firsthand how the people, the nurses and the respiratory therapists that I work with, were truly doing the best
Absolutely.
that they could. But I do believe that a better job
Could have been done.
And a lot of medications that we weren't allowed to give, we should have been allowed to give.
Right.
And so a lot of people were going to Mexico to get these medications, because the Biden administration wasn't allowing, during that time after President Trump, the Biden administration came in, and a lot of them prohibit a lot of these medications that could have saved so many people's lives. And then Dr. Fauci was also refusing to allow doctors to do their job.
So do you know why they wouldn't allow them to use that?
Well, I think that, doctors like Dr. Fauci were behind a lot of this and wanted to see this chaos.
Well, the reason,
especially under President Trump, they wanted to bring President Trump down.
Right.
And President Trump did the best that he could. He really did. But when you have people like Dr. Fauci giving horrible recommendations.
Right. So by the time they were doing that, Trump was already out, and they were not allowing certain medications, which I won't say the name because I don't want to get blocked on here or taken down. But they weren't using some of these medications because there had to be no viable alternative in order for them to bring out the vaccine so quickly, right? So they wanted to push that vaccine, so they had to say there's no other alternative that is working. So so they had to not allow it and make fun of people that were utilizing it.
This vaccine made a lot of people very rich, and but this vaccine also hurt a lot of people.
Absolutely.
I took the vaccine, and because I was forced to, I was a respiratory therapist. They said you'll lose your job, and I regret it. I regret taking the vaccine, but I refused to give it to my kids.
Right. Good.
So I said no. I'm not going to do that. I saw the difference in my health how it impacted me. And it took me a long time to recover. My sister had palpitations as soon as she got the vaccine. Thank God she was okay. So I just saw how this vaccine hurt so many people that were perfectly normal, but we were forced to take it. If not, we would lose our job. But yeah. I wish if I could take it back, I would have said, you know what, screw that. But you know,
Right.
Sorry for my language,
No,
but I said, you know, I need my job.
Yeah.
And so
there wasn't enough people to say, no, we're not going to do it. Because they wouldn't have been able to fire everybody.
Especially us in the medical field.
They wouldn't have been fired.
I needed I needed to be there for our patients.
Yeah, and it's, you know, hindsight is always 20/20. It's easier to look back and see we should have done this, should have done that.
We all learned. I think that we had to go through that.
Yeah,
we had to go through that, just like we had to go through the Biden administration to be appreciative of President Trump. So I honestly think it was meant to be. I couldn't understand, why did Biden win? Like, I was just blown away, you know? But you know what?
He won?
Yes. But looking back, I'm like, you know what? I hate how much damage he did to our country. But at the same time, I'm glad because so many people appreciated President Trump more, you know, after, and understood the importance of having the right president.
Unos todavía ciegos. Some people still like, oh no, this, that. I don't know what they're watching or what they listen to.
There's people that there's nothing, you know, they're just so brainwashed.
Yeah.
And they're like loyal to a political party. Look, I'm Republican. I am Republican, but I'm not loyal to a political party.
Right.
You know, I'm loyal to myself, to God, to my family, to the people that I represent, not a political party. Right. But if I don't like something in the Republican Party, I'm gonna fight for it and change that. And see, in the Democrat Party, everybody's just aligned. Yeah, they all are in agreement of their mindset. Even
with Trump, this is what I've said of Trump. I support him. I like, you know, some people say, well, I like him. I just don't like that he says that. I was like, I like everything about him.
But he's
like
not
how
there
he
for you
responds.
to like him. I tell people all the time, he's not there for you to like him. He's there to put in place the policies and get the job done where you're going to have more money in your pockets to be able to take care of your family.
Right. So, but I say, I like the way he talks to people.
Me
because
too.
I think it's on purpose. I think he's got strategy when he does it. But this is what I say. I won't go along with just anything in the sense of, if he started doing something that was not biblically correct, I would not be against to say, hey, no, I'm out. And I think we saw that early in his rallies after he lost. He was doing some rallies and he was promoting the vaccine. He was getting booed at his rallies, his own rallies. People were booing him. Oh, wow. And he would say, no, you don't do that. We gotta claim this. This is a win for us because of how fast they had brought out the vaccine. He didn't understand. People were not with it. People were against it.
Same thing with same-sex marriage.
Yeah, did he push that? Or?
So no. But I personally don't support same-sex marriage.
Right.
And so we're not always going to agree on everything, and that's okay. But like I said, he's not there for you to like him. Right.
But my point in that is that people didn't just go along with that. When they booed him, he eventually stopped talking about that. He saw the people's reactions. He said, no, I'm not going to push that anymore because the people don't like it. So he did away with it. I guess también he has some advisors, and I think that he had maybe some advisors saying, hey, the people that support you are not pro-vaccine. They are anti, at least COVID vaccine, right?
And President Trump listens to the people.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
One of the other things that I saw is when he was talking about Gaza. As soon as he said, well, we'll take Gaza, se me subieron las antenas like that, right? Because the land of Israel will never be divided, right? That's scripture. So whenever we see something that touches on scripture, prophetic aspects of scripture, our ears go up. He put out a video where he had statues of gold in Gaza. I don't know if you've seen that. It was an AI, and I mean, and I
did not
understand the
see
guy's, he's funny and stuff like. He'll put out
I did not
stuff
see
like
it.
that just to see what kind of a response.
He's a man of peace. He hates war.
Right.
He hates war. I personally hate war. I want this war to end. A lot of innocent, children, men and women are victims of this war, and it needs to end.
It does, and he seems like he hates war as well.
And he recognizes that. And honestly, that's why I voted for him.
Right.
That's another reason why I voted for him and supported him, because he doesn't only protect this country and bring peace into this country, but around the world.
Right.
As well. I mean, he's trying to end the war with Ukraine and Russia.
Right.
And just
he ended it with Thailand and ¿cómo se llamaba?
I can't think of it right now, but
I was just watching it.
I know exactly what you're talking
And
about.
then
But yeah, he's
Africa.
creating peace all over the world.
Right.
So that's who he is.
Right.
And I think that everyone needs to recognize that he's not a perfect man. Neither are we. But he's not there for you to like him. It's okay if you do not like him.
Right.
But look at the amazing work he's putting in place and the policies. And little by little, you're going to see our economy get stronger. Our borders are secure, in a way that our communities are going to be safer, where our children can go play ball and you're not afraid of something happening to your child
Right.
because your child is outside playing soccer. You don't have to get your child back inside, at 6:00, like in Mexico or, in these dangerous cities, Detroit and all these Democrat-controlled cities throughout the United States, where they're very dangerous and kids cannot be out in the streets. They got to get inside the house. That's not what we want in America.
Right.
And so we need someone like President Trump who, brings law and order.
Let me ask you, ¿le pertenece todavía South Texas to Trump? Does it?
If the people of South Texas still support President Trump?
No. Is there a reason why he is still wanting to win over South Texas?
I mean,
Because he's not running again.
because he recognizes that it's not about just himself.
No, but does he? Is he still wanting to win over South Texas?
Absolutely. That's why he got involved with redistricting.
Okay. Okay.
He was a part of all this. He understood the importance that 2026 has. Why? Because in order for President Trump to continue the America First agenda, we need to keep the House. And we need to be very aggressive.
How
in
do you
2026.
How do you think he'll continue to be involved after 2028? I mean, we still have another 3.5 years, which is awesome.
I know he'll be fundraising for candidates. I know he'll be traveling throughout the United States as well, because he's the type of man that he doesn't make it about himself.
I just feel that he's going to have a greater role than that. No, I don't know what, but a person like that doesn't just go away.
Oh, no, I don't think he'll go away, but I do want him to go and enjoy his family. I hope he does. I hope he just goes and relaxes for a bit. He's been through so much.
He's not gonna do
but
that.
I don't think he's going to do that. And hey, it's better for us. We want him to stay involved. And I believe that he'll be fundraising across the country for Republican candidates and members of Congress. And we'll see what happens.
Probably so. I just think he'll be more involved in that. I just don't see that kind of a leader just disappearing.
Yeah, he's
even just doing fundraisers.
He's iconic,
You can see it. Who do you think's after him?
I think vice president. I think Vance. I
Think so?
Marco Rubio. I think Marco Rubio is doing an amazing job. I mean, I just have so much respect for him, and the vice president as well. He's doing an amazing job. He's truly an American. He has an American dream story. I mean, he is just one of a kind. So I would love to see Vance run for president. I would love to see a Vance Marco Rubio ticket. It would be perfecto.
That would be perfect for Republicans, but for the average Joe, Trump stood out. who else is there that would win the hearts of people like he did?
Vance. I mean, Vance
think he will?
low income family.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, I recommend for you to read his book and watch his movie. I mean, he really does have an American dream story. I mean, his upbringing,
Yeah.
Marco Rubio had. I think that people see where they're at today, but don't know what it took for them to be in those positions. So they need to tell their story,
Right.
and talk about that.
And I get that, but Trump didn't come from nothing.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that people just need to be authentic. What we love
Yeah.
about President Trump is him being authentic, him just speaking his mind.
There's something different about him. There's something special about him that he instinctively knows what to do, how to speak. Even though people criticize his speech, I think he does it intentionally. I think it's very strategic,
Yes.
the way he talks, and it seems to. He'll say something and walk
Yes.
away, and that thing's still just permeating in the minds
Yeah.
of people, and it almost seems like it was random. And it might have been random, but you come back a week or two later and people are still talking about it, and now it's become an actual issue that people are looking at. So I don't know. I think it has to be somebody that's over the top like him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, whatever he says is like, this guy's like, have you seen the
I'm excited. I think Vance and Marco Rubio and many other. I mean, who knows, right? Here, there's a lot of amazing people.
have you ever
that will be
seen the
running, so
video
we'll
of
see.
that dog, that King Charles dog?
No.
There's some dogs barking in a little pound. Y de repente viene this one dog, and all the other dogs start like bowing almost to him. They all just duck down and cower to him. And the one that was causing all the trouble, he just comes and he puts his paw on his throat and stands over him. This is a real video, right? He puts his paw. So this is the alpha dog
You need to
in the
send it to
room.
me.
I will. This is the alpha dog, right? And that's the type of person that we need. And that's what Trump is. Trump enters a room, he te quita el lado so he can be in front of the picture. Right? So that's what this country is going to need to go forward. And they're hard to find.
Con pantalones.
Sí.
Es un hombre. He's an off. And I love that. And that's something that, you know, again, Republican Party, we do embrace. We do embrace men being men and women being women. We don't attack men. We don't compete with men. We complement each other.
Right.
And you see the left constantly attacking men, wanting to feminize men.
Right.
And I do not need a bunch of feminine men fighting in war. Like, that's not going to be a winning war for me. No, we need alpha men, strong men, brave men, and women too, fighting for us, you know? So that's another reason why I support the Republican Party, because we allow men to be men, and we celebrate fathers and men and being protectors and providers, and also embracing mothers and celebrating women and us being our authentic self. And you see the left wanting to erase women, allowing, you know, men to go into women's restrooms, into our spaces, allowing men to play in women's sports. You know, all that is erasing us, not wanting to call pregnant women. No, they want a pregnant person, you know, and they want to erase us. And it's like, no, we're not going to do none of that.
Yeah, I think women are wising up to that. I think women see the importance of men and
Absolutely.
real women, ¿verdad?
Real woman, that's right.
So let me begin to close with this. So you're running for?
Yes, I will be running. I will be making a big announcement next week.
Okay.
You
don't want to make it on our podcast?
I will be running for Congress.
All right.
Let's just put it like this. I will be running for Congress in the district that I served. So,
all right.
Well,
is that the big announcement? Or no?
I will be running for Congress in the district that I served.
All right, good. So they heard it here first.
They heard it here.
All
first.
right, awesome. So since you're in with Trump, I want to get you to get him to come on to our podcast too.
Oh man, that's
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
He's been here in Robstown. Did you come when he was here?
No, I didn't. But I did rally with him here in Texas. I spoke at his rally when he was here visiting. So,
Good. So let me
a lifetime opportunity.
Yes,
that I
it
had.
was. I sat right behind him.
And we've been endorsed by President Trump.
Awesome.
Multiple times. So.
Very good. So question here to close. What is God doing in your life, and what role do you see him using you to fill?
There's no way that I would be able to have the strength to withstand some of the attacks that I've received on a personal level if it wasn't because of the faith that I have in God. There's been a lot of people wanting to instill in me fear, and sometimes I've gotten a lot of pushback. And if it wasn't because of the Holy Spirit speaking to me nope, dale, keep going, don't be afraid, lean on me. If I didn't have that relationship with God, I would have already fallen into depression. You know, in this world, it's easy to get lost and fall into that dark side. There's a lot of depression, a lot of sadness, a lot of anxiety in politics when you're constantly being attacked when on a personal level. And that's the part that I hate about politics. When they attack you, they don't go after you on issues. No, they go after you, after your family. And so that's been the hardest for me. But because of the faith that I have in God, that I put my trust in him, that whatever happens, I trust that his plan is better than mine. Mm-hmm. You know, if he wants me in Congress, I will be in Congress.
That's right.
If he doesn't want me in Congress, it's because he wants me somewhere else.
Right.
And that's okay. I know what it's like to win, and I know what it's like to lose. And I understand every single time why things happen. And you know what, God, it's okay. You didn't want me at this particular time when I lost my reelection by 2 points. You know, I didn't question God. I said, okay, God, okay. What do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'm so glad those were the results at that time, because God was preparing me for this very time. Mm-hmm. And God knew that I was going to need this time, especially for my children. So I, now more than ever, I trust him 100%, that his plan is always better than mine. So God is keeping me alive every day. Mm-hmm. And so I just make sure that I stay in prayer, and that he knows, you know, how grateful I am. And I'm praying in the good and the bad times, because sometimes we only pray when we're in the bad times. And I'm here to tell you, no, you need to pray every single day, especially for our children, because no one else is praying. I think that my grandmother's prayers, who's no longer here, she's in heaven, I know that her prayers till this day are protecting me. They live for many generations. So we have an obligation to continue that. And so I would be nothing without God.
Amen. That's very refreshing to hear from somebody who's running for Congress. So, Congresswoman Mayra Flores, thank you for joining me in the den.
Thank you for having me.
It's
it was such
truly
a pleasure.
Been a blessing.
Very good coffee.
Amen.
Muchas gracias.
Igualmente.